Hello there.
Hi there. I'm Chris.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Jeandra, Black Sports Online. So you are the composer of the film. How do you begin the process of creating the sound for a film that's been rebooted from the past, but is set so far into the future?
Well, the first thing that I did after my heart skipped a couple of beats and figured out how much work we had to do, the first thing I did was I knew that John Williams had done the original theme for the show, and I'm a huge fan of his, and he's the reason I'm doing this, quite honestly. And so there's a lot of I'll put excitement, but it was actually nerves and pressure, and I wanted to make sure that it sort of followed in those footsteps and had the sci-fi heart and the sci-fi adventure, but it had to feel right in 2018 here, especially because the Netflix show is much more serious. It's a much more like broad family show. So I wanted to make sure that it had all the heart, and it had, I keep saying aspirational. I wanted it to be like when we were growing up and I saw E.T. or you see Marty McFly grab the skateboard in Back to the Future. You want to jump. You want to jump into the Millennium Falcon. So for me, it was the music. What would be playing in a 12-year-old boy's head when he meets a robot? What would be playing when Penny or Judy first jump into the spaceship? So it was all about what's sort of the internal music for these kids who get to go on this amazing adventure and end up a lot of times saving the day. So it's really about that sort of like fun adventure ride confidence.
How do you channel that, getting into the head, like you mentioned, of a young man or the young lady jumping in a spaceship? Did you spend some time, did you go out to the set and take a look at it? Or where's that place that you take yourself to get into the mind of a 10-year-old boy? Or do you go out and talk to some 10-year-olds?
Well, I have a 10-year-old girl and a 5-year-old girl at my house who love Harry Potter, and they love Lemony Snickets, and they love all this stuff. So it was pretty easy to like watch and talk to them, and I showed them a little of the first episode, and I could see where their eyes got wide. I could see when they held their breath, and so for me it was like when I could see that, I said, oh, okay, that's where the music needs to start. That's where it needs to lift up a little bit and give them a little bit of hope or give them a little bit of sadness. So I used a little bit of research with my own family, and then of course I remember I was that kid who used to dress up in a robe with a wiffle ball bat pretending I was Luke Skywalker. That was me. I used to run around the neighborhood, in weird clothes, pretending I was one of these characters. So for me, it was really about going back to that and going, this is why I love movies in the first place.
And lastly, I've been asking the cast, which is the best way to consume the series? Do we binge watch it all at once? Do we watch an episode and take a break and come back to it? What's the best way to watch it?
I'm a binge watcher. I think this is a binge watch show. I think, it's a family show. So what I would do is I'd make pancakes on a Saturday morning, and I'd start at about 9 or 10, and you can get through the whole series by dinner time, and then you can all go out for dinner and talk about it.
Yep, and talk about it and talk about the future some more.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for stopping. Pleasure to meet you.